Well, kids, welcome to another episode of Rim Shots with Sean, right here in the Rock Rage Radio Network, brought to you by Barstools and Bandtalk. I have a super guest here today. I'm really excited to present to you the one, the only, Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal. How are you?
How you doing?
That's a mouthful, man.
Thank
That's
you.
a mouthful.
Thank you for having me on. Yes, he has a super guest, but the guest couldn't make it, so they brought me in instead.
Oh, I digress. So I was reading the press information, and the first question, I thought about the first question because, obviously you've done hundreds and thousands of these and you've been asked probably similar questions all the time, but it's called Bumblefoot Returns. And so my thought is, well, you haven't been anywhere because you've still been churning out some wicked material. So is there a secret meaning behind that, or is it simply, it's been 30 years since I did the first one, so we're going to have another go at it?
That's pretty much it. Like the first album it had this comic booky kind of artwork to it, and it was all instrumental, all these weird songs. And I haven't done an album like that since that first one 30 years ago. 30 years, my God.
Incredible.
So it's pretty much that. It's like taking that album, if you were bypassing 30 years of everything else I did, and it's like, okay, back doing that same kind of thing, and just I updated the artwork and got it on vinyl now, and even did cassette because the first album was on cassette. So I just want to be all retro with it. We even made a video game. I'm going to announce it today. I'll show it to you. Oh, it's still loading. There we go. Okay. You want to see my video game?
Absolutely. Scoop right here.
This is the Simon in Space video game. How do I turn the camera? Let me see. Not that. Oh, wait. Was it that? Hang on. All right. Did you just lose me? I'm back.
There we go.
I'm just going to flip this around and see if this works if I just go like this. And if I keep it there. All right. So this is the Simon in Space video game. And let me try and I'm trying to get a better angle. You know how hard it is to angle this thing from not looking at it? Okay. So there's that, and you just hold it down and you start shooting the space mice, the aliens, get the power-up coins. And what else? What do we got? All right. And then these things start shooting at you. So you got to get around those. Good. Power up. Kicking ass. Look at this. Get back. Get back. It's like a total retro space shooter game. Look out. I suck.
So I'm getting a modern day Space Invaders vibe right there. Meets Centipede, maybe. It's what a throwback.
So it's totally, it's just, I want to do lots of things to make this album release fun. I made sure everything that's physical stuff comes with a ton of art, because that's what we love about physical stuff, is having a bunch of art. So even the cassette, it rolls out to all this artwork. Wow. And let me see if I can even show you the video game is a free thing just for fun, just another way to enjoy the album release, the music. Now you get to just play an old school video game while you listen to the song. Well, okay, now this thing, it opens up to a bunch of art. These are all full of art. And this thing, there's another one. There's two of them in here, full of more art and pictures and stuff. And it even is a UV pressing.
Wow.
Art on the discs. So this one was supposed to be just black, and it ends up like this. And I'm trying to figure out what this color reminds me of. Coconut.
Yeah.
It looks like coconut milk. So anyway, that is the vinyl. The CD I don't have in my hands yet. I got to get one. But the booklet, instead of a stapled booklet, it like opens up into a big square. There's more art. Just trying to make this thing pretty much like everything in 30 years of music that you could do with an album release I'm doing.
Well, and a throwback because remember the days when you would go to the record store and get your vinyl Kiss record, and you'd get stickers and you'd get artwork and you would get
The Love Gun Pop Gun. Remember
right
that?
more than just the album. And now it's go download it and hopefully you can get a picture that you can maybe print, which you usually can't. So you've put a lot of thought into this. How long from, I guess, conception to, I hate to say cradle to grave, it sounds so morose, but from conception to completion, how much time and effort did this take you?
It was during the pandemic that I decided, I was like, all right, I'm going to make another album. And the album was done, completely recorded, mixed, mastered, ready to be heard by the summer, June of 2023. But I also had a couple of bands that I was in and producing, and they were dependent on me. They needed me for mixing and producing and taking care of business and everything. So rather than taking 10 other people and 3 record labels and telling them to F off, I put mine to the side for a year and got all of those out and into the world. And then early last year, I started working on the music video and started with the video game. I had my friend Radek Grabinski from Gloomyware. He made that game and he helped with the music video, just made it look like a music video and not like me, just throwing feces. And then I tried to make this thing, it's the guitar spaceship with my cat Simon flying it, and I wanted to make it out of this guitar and turn it into like a spaceship. And I spent a lot of time on that, only to realize that I really suck at art. So I got somebody that knows what they're doing, and he busted out a great image of it, and then got a 3D rendering software specialist artist dude, and he converted it into a virtual 3D model. So this way you can have it at any angle, like here's Simon leaving. And you don't have to redraw it. You just take this 3D model, you could put the lights in different places, the lighting of it, change any angle of it, and just do a 2D image of it, and you're good. And you could use it in the video game and the music video and anything at all, anything. Yeah, so that took a good minute. And then hiring an artist to take all the weird stuff from the music video. There's a lot of weird things in the video. If you watch it in slow motion on drugs, you may never recover, but there's a lot of weird stuff in there. So taking all of those and just turning it into album art and making it just like the templates for the vinyl, the CD, the cassette, all of that, and then doing a brand new website. My website was from 2008. Yeah, so I think about that. It's like, that's a long time. It's a pretty out-of-date website. So making a new website, a new merch store, new merch, Simon in Space pet bowls made of ceramic, healthy, good, okay for the cats and dogs. Mugs, okay for the humans and cats and dogs. And shirts and, all that crap. So, and then organizing with the warehouse where it's all going to ship to. The manufacturer ships some to them, some to me, and then hooking up with Deco Records, a wonderful record company and great bunch of guys. So they are handling the retail stuff and they'll be shipping it to their contacts in Canada. So you don't have to pay 10 times the amount of the album just to ship it there. And it'll be domestic shipping, and they're partnered with Cargo Records in the UK. So a bunch will be out there. And so just organizing all of that stuff and the online distribution, which Apple, of course, screwed up because that seems to be what they're good at lately. And they don't have it out. They've certainly had long enough, and every other company seemed to have functioned and took down the singles and put out the album on the date. But Apple seemed to have failed at that. So just handling all that stuff and stomping out the fires and everything. So that was a good year to do all of this. Now, if I just wanted to throw it on Shitify just for people to stream, then, I could have went that route and just, done that, and it would have been out 2 days after I said, okay, it's done. But then we wouldn't have this, and we wouldn't have the video game, and we wouldn't have anything. Oh,
sorry.
that's
Well, all this stuff is very important that you're talking about, because I think people go, oh, well, Ron's at this level where he doesn't have to do this. And it sounds like you're doing more than a lot of people are actually doing at a lower level.
Well, I'm doing all of this because you realize at my age that it's got to be about fun, and it's got to be, you only get to do this once. I'm only releasing this album now, and I want to do it in a good, memorable way that I'll look back on when I'm lying in my deathbed in 2 days and saying, you know, I'm glad I did all that stuff. I'm glad I contributed a little more to the world and didn't just half-ass it. That it's worth it. It's worth it to go the extra and do all of this stuff, because you only get this one time to do it. Don't half-ass it.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. And so 14 tracks. And in the presser, you had some no-name people that were listed there, guys like Steve Vai and Brian May. And, you know, it must be interesting that, you know, you've got a network of people that, you know, A, you can call on, but B, think enough of you to do sort of collabs with your projects.
Well, I felt like they needed some recognition, and they needed to get more known. So I figured that maybe if I give them this opportunity to
Well,
no,
they did say in your info that you're a philanthropist, so you just proved it right there.
Yeah, I just wanted to help my fellow musicians, give them a boost. No,
God love you.
They're phenomenal. They're wonderful people. They're incredible. They're my inspirations, and I am so blessed and honored and privileged and grateful to have them. Everyone who has been contributing to this album has made it better, and I could truly say that they brought things to the music that I can't. I couldn't. I could try. I could be a poor imitation, but they are the real deal. I'm a crap drummer. Thank God I have Kyle. Seriously, worst drummer. The only thing I'm worse at is violin and basketball. But like Kyle Hughes, the drummer, he made those songs just amazing. Like, he is such an incredible drummer. And then my buddy Jerry Gaskill from the band King's X, he played on the one song with Brian, and just his lag and his feel and everything. And yeah. And Brian May, when he played that solo, like, it's exactly what that song needed. And if I was going to do a solo there, I would I'd be trying to channel, you know, my inner Brian May, which is never going to be as good as the real thing. I'm the MP3 version. He's the real version. You know, it's like, yeah. So that, and Steve Vai, I needed someone who was going to make the guitar sound like an alien, you know, vomiting acid and melting everything in its path, you know. And only one guy can do that. That's him. Nobody could do it like him. The sad orchestrated funeral march song. Originally, I wrote it for piano, and then as the song was just progressing and adding orchestration and everything, and I realized it needed just this beautiful crying vocal violin. I went to my favorite band, Thank You Scientist, and Ben, the violinist, he did it. Derek Sherinian, my bandmate in Sons of Apollo, whom gods destroy, which we should mention something about that.
Well, I was going to ask you for sure.
Yes. And, you know, he heard the song with Jerry and Brian. He's like, oh, you need real B3 in there, not that crappy VST. So he comes in with his growling, big, real Hammond and everything. Everybody, and Guthrie Govan. That was a song. That was the first song I wrote thinking to myself, okay, I'm going to make an album, another instrumental album. So I took the earliest unused, unfinished idea I had from when I was 19 years old in 1989. I had this one riff that I just never did anything with, but I never forgot it. So I built that into a song, just expanded on it. And during that time period, I was in a guitar magazine. It was like my first real legit write-up. And someone wrote me a personal handwritten letter with stamps on it and a cassette inside and said, "Hi, my name is Guthrie Govan. I'm a guitar player in the UK. Check out my demo." And we became pen pals, and we would write each other. I would be sending handwritten letters and cassettes of demos and transcriptions, like, here's what I did in this weird riff. And we were just these guitar pen pals starting in 1989. So who better, as the song was coming together and it had this big space in the middle where we could do like a trade-off with someone. It's like, it's got to be him. You know, it's just that 1989 thing. That's when the song came from. That's when I met him. And I was on his album, so he owed me one. I was on the song Rhode Island Shred. I did the guitar solo in the middle and the harmonies out. So yeah, and all of these people made the album so much more than it would have been without them. So yeah,
Fantastic.
I really appreciate them.
So I wasn't necessarily going to bring it up. You did, so therefore.
Let's bring it up. Yes.
Yeah. So are the Sons dead?
Sons of Apollo?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we don't have a drummer, so
yeah, he got busy all of a sudden. We know
a founding member, and the way I look at it is, yeah, I mean, never say never, but at this point, we were writing what we hoped to be during the pandemic, a third Sons of Apollo album, but realized that it wasn't going to happen. So we pretty much formed a new band. And we were just struggling with names, going through a million different names. And we were looking through Twilight Zone episodes, and then we hit Star Trek episodes. And sure enough, with Malta, the green dancing woman, that I must have masturbated to like 800 times when I was 15. Let's just put it out there because we all did. Anyone already? I probably shouldn't have said that. So anyway... And then we hit Whom Gods Destroy, and we were like, that's a great name. I like it. It's like, not sure about whom. And Derek was like, I like whom. Derek likes pompous. So whom is right up Derek's alley. So he really wanted that name. The first thing I did is I went on the internet. It's like, dude, there's already a band, Whom Gods Destroy. There's a band. It's already been. And he just did not want to give up the name. And he's like, so I reached out to them. I sent them a message. I said, would you be willing to share the name and have two Whom Gods Destroys? And they were okay with it. They said, as long as they don't have to change any of their things, like any of their social media or anything like that. I was like, no, I don't want to step on anything of yours. In fact, what I said to them is, why don't we even, like, if our version tours, why don't you play with us? It'll be the first time in history you have a band playing with a band with the same name. Whom Gods Destroy with Whom Gods Destroy. I think that would be cool as hell.
If I'm ever looking for a gig, what I'm going to do is find out what your next band name is and name my band that.
Call yourself Bumblefoot, and then we'll do a Bumblefoot tour.
Right.
But yeah, they're a great bunch of guys, and they're cool. They're just so like, just like gritty and raw, and I like them. So that was the thing. So what I did is I made everything WG Destroy to keep the difference, and so that Whom Gods Destroy, that's all their stuff, and ours is, the website, any social media, just keep it WG Destroy. And yeah, and I hope it hasn't been a pain in their ass, because every once in a while I know someone on Twitter was like, check out the new album of Derek and Ron from, and they use their handle, and it's like, I'm sorry guys, I was hoping this would not be annoying to you.
I think it's probably okay. I think they're probably doing all right with it. Question I have for you here, just as we're wrapping, because I know you're a busy guy, man. So you've played with in a lot of different situations, some different bands, some different people. When you're putting a project like this together, is it is it a preconceived thing of, okay, I'm going to put this song together because it's going to be this person? Or is it after the fact you bring them in? I mean, how do you do it? And I mean, and then the part two of the question is, why do you get the calls for the gigs that you get? What is it about you that people go, I got to get him on this project?
Because everyone else, their line was busy. And I was like, all right, there's one left. Let me call him. Maybe he'll do it.
Fair enough.
So, well, the first part of your wonderful question is no, I didn't plan on having guests at all until I would write a song. And then as the song would come together, it would just be like, this song needs this person. I didn't want it to be an album full of a million guests where every song has a different guest and, the variety hour kind of thing. No. But there were certain songs where the song deserved for it to live its best life, to have these people be part of it. And it wasn't until the songs would be near finished that I would listen and say, all right, there's just one puzzle piece missing that only specific person would be that puzzle piece. And fortunately, almost everyone said yes. There was one that I was debating where it's like, should I have one more guest? I don't want to have more than like 3 guitar player guests. But there was this one song that was like a Southern rock song where I was picturing a talk box solo in the vein of like Joe Walsh, Peter Frampton. And I was just going to do a fretless solo with a talk box. And it was the same thing. I was like, all right, if I do this, I'm just imitating those guys. Let me ask if they would do it. So I knew Joe Walsh's guitar tech, and I was like, would you ask Joe if he would want to play on this? And the response I got back after a while was, the song sounds like it's already finished. You don't need me on there. It sounds done already. Like this, I don't feel like I have anything to add. I was like, okay. And then I just took the talk box and I just did my poor man's imitation of those guys, and just, I'm actually happy with the way the solo came out. It's singable, it's tasty, it's phraseable, it's you can imitate it. Like if you can imitate the parts, with your mouth, it's a lot harder to do that. So definitely, I think I did right for the song, and that's the whole thing. I want to make sure that I'm serving the song properly. So there's that. And then why do I get gigs? If your main thing is to always do your best and be genuine and, just not be, if you devote your life to doing your best, and if you're on time and if you're prepared and and you spend enough time and you don't give up and you do it for decades, after a while, your circle of people just keeps expanding.
Right.
And the people in that circle are just like, hey, you want to make a band together? Like that's how Sons of Apollo happened. Is I knew Mike and we had jammed before, and Billy, we had jammed before. I had done guest solos on things that he produced. I played on Portnoy's Son's album. And then Mike hit me up, said, thinking of putting this band together. I know we always talked about doing a band. So I got this idea with Billy on bass, Derek on keys, Soto on vocals. And I was like, you busy in March? You want to get in the studio, write some songs and record an album? I was like, yeah, I'm free, let's do it. So that, it's just cool. That circle keeps on going, like Phil Narrow, rest his wonderful soul. We did something in 2016. I think we played at the Rock Pile in Toronto and somewhere in Chicago. And it was this sort of, I don't know what you could call it, but it was Carmine Appice on drums, who I've done a million things with and played on tons of his songs and jams and stuff. Rudy Sarzo on bass, Jeff Downs on keys from Yes and Asia, Phil on vocals, I was on guitar, and Gene Cornish from the Rascals on guitar. And we just did a bunch of music, just all stuff from our backgrounds, and had a blast, and it was wonderful. From that, a year later, they asked if I would play guitar in Asia, but I was so busy with Sons of Apollo and other stuff and everything, it just wasn't a good time. Then in 2019, they asked again. They were opening for Yes, and I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then their singer couldn't do it, and they just said, "Why don't you sing? You could sing it." So me promising myself I would never be the replacement guy for a vital member of any other band, I become the frontman of Asia.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, so I spent months just unlearning and relearning how to sing so I could sound more like him for the songs, and then coordinating between getting Steve Howe's guitar sounds and guitar parts while singing and changing, adding reverbs and harmonies and stuff with my right foot on a vocal pedal, and just doing that 8 hours a day for 2 months straight to make sure that I was ready to face thousands of people and hopefully make them reminisce and make them feel like it was the first time they heard Asia again. That was the goal. So yeah, that kind of stuff. So that's it. It's the people that when you stick with it and you just keep on going, and that circle expands. All the people that were just high school players when you were in high school, and then they got gigs too, and you got gigs, and everyone is just kind of doing their thing. Yeah.
Just before we wrap, because you mentioned Asia, I'd love to get your take on this, because it's prevalent out there in this day and age where bands that don't have original members tour. People they have to pay their bills. People love to hear the songs. Some people complain about that. My take has been, if you don't like it, don't go. It's really that simple to me. What's your take on it? Because I'm actually playing a festival up here in Canada, in Nova Scotia, in the summer, and it's a bunch of bands that are famous Canadian bands, if you will, that have sometimes little, if any, original members, but people love the music. So what's your take on that?
My take is you can't change now. This is what it is. If other members passed away, if they're incapable of playing anymore, if they just don't want to, if there's personal reasons, whatever it is, it's great that somebody is still carrying the torch and keeping all that music alive and allowing people to see it, at least with somebody that was part of its inception. I don't think it's that big of a crime. I don't think that it's a form of identity theft, because no one is hiding the fact, no one is pretending that it's something it isn't. It's okay, it's 40 years later, and I'm going to go out and I'm going to play these songs that you all want to hear and enjoy it. And I rarely think it's about the money. I really think it's about people just don't want to see the music die. And there's members of these bands that don't want their music to just wither away and disappear. And they want to get out and play it. And I think it's great that any of the members are willing to, if not all. Yeah. When I did that Asia thing, it was all the surviving members were there. So Steve Howe, he came out for the last 4 songs and played. Jeff Downs, he was there on keys. Carl Palmer was there on drums. But now, just recently, Jeff Downs, last summer he went out as Asia, and it was just him and 3 of his dudes that he knows, and I went to see him when they played, and we hung out and had a great time, and it was phenomenal, and the song sounded so good. And the guy that they have now should absolutely be fronting that band. He has the natural spirit. He didn't need to spend 2 months and 8 hours a day trying to become the role. He already fits it perfectly. He has the voice, he plays bass and he sings. the way John Wetton did. Like, he's perfect for that band, and that band should continue with him.
Love it.
And they sounded great, and you really get to enjoy the songs. And with a lot of these bands, you forget how many great songs they had. And then you go to a show, it's like, oh my God, that song. Oh, that one. Oh, that was so great. And you walk out and saying, I forgot how great this band was. And you're so glad that you got to see it. The world should not be denied that. We shouldn't be fighting that battle and taking, that battle of, it's not the original members. Well, you know what? It's not 1983.
Fair enough.
Yeah. If you want to see the original members, get in your fucking time machine and go see them. Otherwise, deal with reality and take what is here and enjoy it instead of, it's like going to a party and pouting in the corner when you could be enjoying yourself.
Absolutely.
It's like, life is too damn short. Just enjoy the fucking show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Last question, kind sir. How do my loyal viewers and followers get their hands on this product that you showed us earlier?
Okay. So if you want to stream it, it's streaming everywhere except Apple currently until they hire people that want to come to work and do their job. And if you want to download it, you can go to bumblefoot.bandcamp.com, or you could go to bumblefoot.com and you could download it, or you could probably just find any illegal place and do it there. They're already up. I checked last night, and there's already illegal, download sites of the album. And if you want physical product, you could get it from decoentertainment.com. They have, or you could go to bumblefoot.com, where we have a plethora of bundles and options. Deco has the vinyl and the CDs, and they will have posters. And do I have one here? Guitar picks. Where's my guitar pick? A whole bag of them. All right. And guitar picks. Little.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but there's all of that. And you can expect to pay twice as much as the product for shipping. It would be cheaper to fly to New Jersey and I could hand the stuff to you than it would be to get a $30 album and pay $60 in shipping for something that's a 7-hour drive away. But that is the state of the world right now. Shipping is through the roof. It's awful. Everybody's complaining about it. It's certainly not helping me get these albums to people. And I don't like seeing people hurting to have to pay so much to ship the stuff. So fortunately, Deco does have an album smuggler in Canada that they can get stuff to. And I think it's going to be in March is when it's supposed to happen. But I got to check because maybe they could get it sooner, where they could get CDs and vinyl to their album dealer in Canada. So this way, at least it'll be domestic shipping to get the stuff. As soon as I have absolute information on that, I will be plastering it all over my socials, which is just anything, at Bumblefoot, except for TikTok, which I don't give a rat's ass about because I'm way too old for that thing. That one is Bumblefoot official, but everything else is just Bumblefoot. Facebook, Bumblefoot, Instagram, Bumblefoot, YouTube, Bumblefoot, X, Bumblefoot. I'm finally stopped calling it Twitter and I'm calling it X. Threads, whatever it is. So I will let the world know as soon as it's in Canadian hands. And I can't wait for that to happen because it's not right that people have to pay as much as they're paying right now. It's robbery. It's criminal.
It is. We'll get the word out, my friend. Ron Bumblefoot Thal, thank you so much for doing this. It was an absolute pleasure. You were way better than I thought you were going to be. I knew you'd be good, but you were amazing. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. It's great to chat with you. Hopefully we'll do it again sometime.
Yes, sir.
All right, stay warm and have a great 2025, and thank you for your time.
You too, my friend.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.